Hello, and welcome to another Trickjumping tutorial. In this video, I will be covering how to set up vaults, how to fix common problems, and quickly how to add triple throws and vectoring. Vaults, in the past referred to as cap vaults or Cappy roll jumps, are when Mario moves into Cappy while grounded. This both preserves Mario's horizontal momentum and gives a lot of height. I will be using Metro Impossible to explain these setups, so let's head on over to Metro. The first vault setup I will cover is known as a normal vault, sometimes abbreviated as NV. Regardless of which setup you choose to do though, the first step is setting up Mario's position. For a normal vault, you want Mario to be far enough away from the ledge so that Cappy will extend just past it. Another way to tell is that you cannot see Cappy's shadow on the ground. This is known as an edge vault because Cappy is as close to the edge as possible. Over time, you will get a feeling for this, but it can also be very helpful to look at example clips and copy their starting position. Here, if Mario stands with his heels touching these two dots, Cappy will be in the perfect spot. Next, enter first person mode by pressing down on the right control stick. You can use this to precisely aim Mario. Once you're ready, exit first person mode by pressing the stick again. At this point, you do not want to touch the left control stick. Touching it too early will completely ruin the setup. Now we can start on the actual vault inputs. First, press and hold Y or X to throw out Cappy. You must continue to hold Y or X until Mario vaults, otherwise Cappy will disappear and Mario will roll off the ledge. Next, press B or A to jump. While midair, press and hold Z or ZR to ground pound. As soon as you see Mario start the animation, you are free to aim the left control stick towards Cappy. Right after Mario touches the ground, press X or Y, the one you are not holding, to start a roll. If you have done everything properly, Mario should get a lot of height and move forward with a lot of speed. Congrats, you have done a vault. I recommend practicing this a lot until you can consistently perform a normal vault. All other vault setups more or less use this as a foundation. While normal vaults can be performed on any controller and don't use any motion controls, they do require a decent amount of horizontal space. If you don't have the room, you can create it another way. After setting up your angle, backflip. Then, cap throw at the right distance, wait a little, and dive so that Mario lands behind Cappy. From there, do the jump and ground pound roll as normal. Another situation you will encounter are jumps from behind obstacles or ledges, known as beans jumps. For these types of jumps, you want to be jumping from just far enough away so that Mario will surpass the ledge before he hits it. Otherwise, he loses all of his momentum. Most of the time, simply cap throwing into the ledge will give you this distance. However, this can sometimes fail. If you either jump slightly before cap throwing, or do a downwards motion control cap throw, taking downwards on Pro-Con or a single Joy-Con, you will likely get attempts more consistently. The other most common setup is an up-down vault, or UDV for short. This version requires almost no horizontal space, but it does require a pair of Joy-Cons to pull off because it includes a mid-air down throw. The Joy-Cons must either be detached or on a Joy-Con grip, not attached to the Switch body. To set up Mario's position, leave a small gap between the top of Mario's shadow and the ledge. Here, you can put Mario's heels on these two dots. Then, set up the angle again using first person mode. Once you exit first person mode, stop touching the left control stick or it will completely ruin the setup. Now, we can start on the actual vault inputs. First, shake both Joy-Cons up simultaneously to do an up throw and press and hold down Y or X to keep Cappy out. Then, press A or B to jump, ground pound by pressing ZL or ZR, and when Mario lands, press A or B again to perform a ground pound jump. Mario should bounce off Cappy, and just as Cappy is returning, take both Joy-Cons down simultaneously to do a down throw. It is important to do this as soon as possible before Mario loses any height. That way, Cappy only goes a little over the ledge. Next, press and hold ZL or ZR to ground pound, and once the animation starts, you can begin holding forward again. When Mario lands, press Y or X the one you are not currently holding, to roll into Cappy. If you have done everything right, you should vault off Cappy. It is important to note that if you prefer to trick jump with a Procon, you can press plus to pause right after performing the downward shake to switch controllers. Just make sure to resume holding Y or X before unpausing. There are 3 common problems related to the setup position and vault inputs. If Cappy disappears before you vault, there are usually 3 causes. First, make sure you are holding Y or X instead of simply pressing it. If you let go before the vault, Cappy will return immediately. Second, make sure you are rolling with the other face button and not with a shake. Rolling with a shake homes Cappy in and prevents the vault. Finally, you may simply be too slow. Cappy can only stay out for 2.6 seconds, so continue practicing the inputs until they become quicker and more comfortable. If Mario bounces but gains very little height, or if he rolls off the ledge while Cappy stays out, Cappy is too far away from the ledge. So, set up Mario a little further back before trying again. Another possible cause is touching the left control stick too early. If Mario moves before the final ground pound, Cappy may end up farther away than intended and cause the same issue. For up-down vaults specifically, holding before the bounce off the up throw will cause Mario to gain less height, which makes the down throw travel much further away. If Mario gets height but doesn't travel anywhere, you are not holding a direction when he vaults. At some point between starting the final ground pound and touching Cappy, you must begin holding a direction on the left control stick. Without directional input, Mario gains height but no horizontal momentum upon interacting with Cappy. Now, assuming you are comfortable with vaults and homing cap throws, we can add triple throws. Triple throws are quicker versions of homing cap throws performed on the 3rd consecutive cap throw. Unfortunately for vaults, they are only helpful for height jumps and not any jumps that require a serious amount of distance. To do this with a normal vault, cap throw, and as soon as Cappy returns, perform your vault inputs. Cappy then should come out as a double throw, which is the signal that your first cap throw midair will be a triple throw. In order to do this with an up-down vault, all you need to do is make sure that your down throw is as soon as possible. Now, as soon as Cappy returns from the vault, roughly when Mario reaches peak height, you have a short window of time in which performing the homing cap throw will turn into a triple throw. It is optimal to be as late in this window as possible. Any earlier just loses potential distance. Finally, I will talk about adding vectoring. First, you want to aim Mario about 45 degrees to the left or right. Note that this will impact where you position Mario since both him and Cappy are not traveling straight towards the ledge anymore. Then, when you start aiming again, you want to hold about 45 degrees in the other direction. When Mario vaults, he should immediately start switching his direction to face where you are holding and gain speed in the process. Importantly for normal vaults, Mario will rotate a little before being able to vault, thus making the overall vector weaker. You can fix this by either initially aiming slightly wider or by beginning to hold when Mario is much closer to Cappy. Thank you so much for watching! On screen now is a quick summary about how to execute normal and up-down vaults. If you have any other questions, you can ask in the comments, or join the Trickjumping Discord and ask there in the Trickjump help channel. Have fun jumping!